Now in this video, I'm going to try to show how I would clean up a sprocket. Usually, if you were doing a tire change, changing out the chains, you'd want to clean up the sprocket. This is a sprocket that's 25 years old. Time for a cleanup. See what we can do to freshen it up. Not our first step in any of our restoration of basically anything we do. Put some simple green on, let it soak, go have a cup of coffee. I don't want to put this on my wire wheels, polishing wheels, sandpaper, or anything that's going to be used today, and take this grease. Let me just get some off my fingernail here. This is all the chain lube from many years. I want to I want the part to be as clean as possible before I go into the next step. Now, the easiest way to get a lot of grease off really quickly, we got this is as hot as I can make the water. I don't want to contaminate any of my material in the shop, the cutters, the wire wheels, or anything, but ordinary SOS, hot water. And what that does, that gets some of, I'm not sure you can see the group coming off, but the parts that are really dirty, it does take most of the grease off. So even if this was the only cleanup you had done, this certainly would be an upgrade over what we had 5 or 10 minutes ago. So what I wanted to do is try to show step by step how I would go about cleaning this up. And a lot of these things, it works on any motorcycle, of course. So on the soft wire wheel, I just want to clean between the teeth. This is the easiest way to get anything out of there. So now, you have to evaluate this. There's a lot of possibilities. It can be raw aluminum, raw steel. It can be plated. If it's aluminum, it can be anodized. Before I can really do any polishing, I've got to get this finish off. The finish that's on here, the plated finish, is not going to polish up. What's going to happen, it's going to polish and then not polish. Polish, not polish, where I wear the plating out. So the next step on this is to, no matter how I do it, with sandpaper, I can do it with wire wheel. I'll try each one to see what's going to get this plating off the most conveniently. Now, after doing a couple little tests, here's what I found out with this part. That to get that plating off and to get down to bare metal, I'm going to need the rough discs. I tried using the smooth ones, the finer ones. Leaves a nicer finish. This is going to leave more scratches. But before I can do anything, there's nothing you can do with this plating on here. You've got to get down to, basically down to some raw metal. Now, even though the rough is leaving a lot of scratches, I'll be able to get that plating off the whole part in a matter of maybe 10 minutes. Now, the rougher fiber discs have gotten most of the plating, or whatever we plated that with, but we're going to go do the same step over again with the smoother discs. Now, you maybe not be able to see it on here, but the problem with the rougher discs, it takes the material off quicker, but it leaves a lot of sanding scratches. And what's going to happen now is these will get, the smoother ones will get some of the scratches out, but then we're going to have to do some of this with some hand sanding, because otherwise, if you're trying to polish this and you've left on some of the plating, it's always going to have that camouflage look where you left the plating on. I'm not really sure if you can see, but the scratches are now a lot shallower than the deep scratches from the rough pad. And we're always fighting to get the scratches out. Now the next step, they make these buffing balls with, it's like that material they use on like a 3M pad. They make rough ones, smooth ones. The green one is good. What I'm going to do is put it in a drill press, get down in all of these little recesses. It allows me to do that pretty conveniently. But the problem with these is they wear out very quickly. These don't hold up over the long haul, in my opinion, anyway. And maybe that's because I bought the wrong one. Maybe there's a better quality one out on the market, but they do the job. Now the next step takes a little bit of, well, every part is different, of course. This is 1000 grit paper, what I'm doing. I'm going to do it wet. I want to pick a selected spot, one of the ones that has plenty of scratches, so we can see if wet and dry, a little soapy water. And this part of the job is going to take some time. You can do a lot of it by machine, but when you really want to have the nice final shine, that really polished look, it just takes time. That's all there is to it. But I'll do one little spoke here and see if it's going to come up. And as long as I can see scratches, I know I got to keep sanding. Now the part's not going to start getting shiny until we put it on a buffing wheel, but if I can get out all the scratches with 1000 grit, wow, that'll be nice. But if not, I'll have to go to some 600 to get them out. But I need to get out as many as possible, depending on the quality of finish I want. Now let me just get a paper towel here. See if we're making any progress. If not, we'll go to 600. Not sure you can see what's happening, but you can. There's still some scratches, so we're going to go get some 600 sandpaper. Okay, and this is 600 grit. We'll see. Now, depending on how deep the scratches are, but if you don't, the key thing is never leave on the plating. If you leave any plating on at all, it just gives you a mottled look. It looks, to me, it doesn't look good at all. But here's the thing: this part of the job takes some time. I'm sure in a professional plating place they have a lot more technology, different machines, but to do this part by hand is going to take a little while. It's okay. I'll try to get out as many of the scratches as I can. It looks like the 600 is doing okay. But then you got to be careful you're not putting your own scratches back in it. No, it looks okay. So it looks like 600 will be the way to do this. So that'll be the next step on this, is just to hand sand the whole part. Get out as many of the scratches as we can. Once we get those scratches out, they'll be ready to buff it out. Now, because some of the scratches were not coming out with 600, I resorted to, as rough as I probably would want to go, is 400. That, of course, beyond that, you start to leave scratches from the sandpaper. But now this is unbelievable because we're in the middle of a snowstorm, and I'm taking breaks in between doing this to keep our front porch clean, because I don't want to go to jail. And anyway, the 400 does take the scratches out a little quicker, but basically all the scratches have to come out before we go to the next step. Now, worth mentioning, this is the way this totally played out. I did the whole part with 400, then the whole part with 600, and back to 1000, and I think I've got most of it ready for, this is the part that takes time, by the way. And as long as I can see on my bench here that I don't have any really deep scratches, pretty soon I'll be ready to run over to the buffing wheel and buff this out the way we buff these parts out, with especially a steel part, black rouge first, red second, white third, rake the wheel between, unless you have separate wheels. That's the part that can be time consuming. But see, what happens is this part of it, getting this part right, getting rid of all the scratches, this gets rid of the scratches a lot faster than if you did it on a buffing wheel. So it's just, You pay me now. You basically pay me now or you pay me later. So it really took 3 or 3.5 sheets of sandpaper to do this part, but I think we're ready for the buffing wheel. I thought I'd take a break here. I'm about halfway through this part with the black, and I want to just show what happens. The black still leaves scratches. It doesn't really come up as highly polished as the red will, but when I'm done with the black, I'll rake the wheel. Just hold the screwdriver, get rid of as much as you can. I'll drop it on the floor. No, not really. The red compound, and by the way, these are all Harbor Freight things. And they make professional grade, they make real expensive stuff. This stuff seems to work pretty good. And it's really inexpensive. And then the final thing, when we're all done, we'll clean the wheel real good. We'll do the white. And then for the final thing is, we'll put a coat of flitz on this. And that should protect it, well, hopefully, for a long time. But you can see the part that's done. There still are some little minor scratches in it. And it's the kind of thing where it depends on how nice you want the job. You could spend as much time as you feel like is worth it on it. But this is such a nice little upgrade to a bike. It's a shame not to do it. And I always think another thing, this is funny. When people tell me they maintain their bike, I always look at the back sprocket and the chain. If the chain is rusty and the sprocket's dirty, I wonder. It's like when a person's on a diet and they're eating pizza. You think maybe they're not telling you the truth. Okay, we're up to doing the red compound. I've already cleaned the wheel. The red compound usually puts on a little bit better shine, gets rid of some more of the scratches. And of course, the amount of time you can spend on this is really up to the person doing it. Now, I'm really not sure you can even, on the video, because we don't have an expensive camera, of course, if you can see, maybe you can't even see the difference, I don't even know, but the red compound does give just a bit more shine. And then we're going to go on to the white. Finish this up. Now I realize I didn't show how I rake the wheel, and if this is no high-tech thing, but the last step is going to be the white compound. Now, in a perfect world, or if you were professional, or you had a lot of money, or all of those, you would just buy another wheel. These come right off, 1, 2, 3. And I have never found it necessary to do that. I have the white compound, one of many that I have. And by the way, they make compound, and if you go to Harbor Freight, green, blue, red, they basically all work. Some will work a little better, a little worse. The best idea is whatever metal products you have or plastic, do a little test of your own. But this is called raking the wheel. And they make a special tool for it. You really don't need it though. Now what that does, it clears the wheel of most of, in this case we're just done with the red compound. You can see the wheel is still a little red. Okay, but it's kind of back to being fuzzy again. Now when we want to do the next step on this, I want to put some, usually you would put wax on this first and then this compound, but this compound has some wax in it, so it sticks pretty well even without the candle wax. But it never hurts to put the candle wax in it if you just happen to have it. Now that wheel is now ready to go to the final step on this project. Had a final little step on this. Just want to put the flitz, will put a real nice final shine on this, and it'll protect with the beeswax, so I want to make sure I get it everywhere, and I'll wipe it off by hand, get in every little nook and cranny. That should protect it. And we're in a process of testing it right now for 6 months, but I want to get it on everything. And of course, our favorite thing, the Flitz orange buffing ball. Once you've used this, you'll be spoiled. Now the idea is, once you get it on, you don't want it to dry. No, I think that came out really nice. And again, I do all this stuff with Harbor Freight supplies and tools. Keep it down to a reasonable budget and try to share the information I learn, of course, on YouTube. So, I always, at the end of a job, I like to look at a before and an after. And I think I'm trying to decide which sprocket I want to put back on the bike. This is going to be a tough decision. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and of course, thanks for watching. And we have so many other polishing videos, painting videos. I think there's over 1,100 so far. Yeah, that really did come out nice. There's always some jobs that I really get excited about. That was a good investment of a snowy day. Again, thanks for watching.